Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Greg Brasso, your host of Veterans Voice Radio, here in a beautiful mid-end of summer, beginning of fall night. We've got the leaves are turning. It's getting a little bit cold. And as a soccer official, boy, I can't wait for this season to end. Boy, I don't know how these kids wear these shorts.
The blue knobby knees is a good look for you.
Oh yeah, it's not a good feeling, I'll tell you. So I got one more week to go of freezing, and then we go inside for basketball. But we had a guest that's on tonight to join us that I met about a year or so ago through my friend Mikey DiBartolo in Chicago. Mike met Bob Losey, and he's here joining us tonight. Bob, thanks for coming in tonight.
More than welcome.
We appreciate you taking the ride down from beautiful Hyde Park.
Yep.
Hyde Park. Boy, that like Wolfiestown is Hull. That's taken a little transformation over the last few years, hasn't it?
It has.
With Red Cross, we help with the transformation there. They burn every time a building gets burnt down there. They buy it sight unseen. It's a gorgeous condo there. Before I've left from Red Cross, there's a beautiful condo there.
Yeah, 3 condos in the one built in the one building area. You know, the triple deckers like Southie.
There aren't any triple deckers any longer.
Really?
They're all condos.
Well, but 3 condos. Like I said, you used to be able to buy a triple decker in Southie for $100,000 for all 3 units. Right?
No,
Wolfie, am I wrong?
That doesn't buy a parking spot now.
No.
That's right. Not a parking spot in the garage.
But the kids that live there are making cool barrels of money. It doesn't matter to them.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't matter.
Nope. South Boston, the whole city's changed.
Yeah. We just had Ed Flynn on.
Oh.
A few weeks ago, and very interesting, talking about his background and this and that, and
court officer and Army veteran, if I'm correct.
Yeah. And what I really admired when he came in, he was talking about the fact that the Boston City Council was looking to cut the veterans' budget by $1 million.
Insanity.
That's what he called it.
Yep.
It's insanity.
And he said he said totally unconscionable, and eventually they all changed their mind.
Well, I think the tide's starting to turn. You saw 2 incumbent district councilors lose in Boston this past September, and calling them extremists is not going far enough. So hopefully the people of Boston, especially the district seats, are coming to their senses, and they're going to elect people like-minded of the majority of the people from Boston. And we don't get into the political end. Wolfie and I barely can handle what we don't know already here. But there's a little bit of fringe activity, we'll say, going on. Yeah, absolutely, and the change is coming, and again, you ask for people that are going to represent your thoughts and your well-being, and not go out on a cliff and go to the extreme on either side, for that matter.
Yeah.
Whether you're a progressive or a conservative, people want to be represented to the best of your ability, and that's where the change is coming, and they elected 2. They voted out 2 incumbents.
And for the audience, Bob, why don't you introduce yourself and let everybody know who you are, sir?
My name is Bob Losey. I live in Boston, and I am a retired. I was the National Legislative and Political Director for the Mail Handlers Union in Washington for 14 years. Prior to that, I was the New England president, represented the 6 New England states.
For the Mail
Handlers Union, and now I'm working for the Laborers International Union, which was my international union to begin with, but now I'm working for them on a part-time basis, consulting and doing some legislative and political work.
Beautiful.
That's why I have an opinion on politics. Right or wrong,
well,
I have an opinion.
That's okay.
Listen, we honor all the people who fought and gave their lives and their time so I could be as wrong as I could be.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
See?
Yep.
They gave me the right to be this stupid.
They-
And I want to thank you for the balmy heart, and I'm using that to the best of my extreme abilities to be that ridiculous.
Well, we're getting
Well, thank you all for
we're,
that.
we're getting the most out of what we have. But and before we go on, I have to share with the audience something that happened to us last week. And I have my hand over Rosa Johnson's name because last week she was in. Rosa is with the VA domestic violence
Domestic violence abuse.
department.
We were running short on things to be really sad about, so I'm glad you found her, Greg, so we could go home. I was just mumbling to myself all the way
Because it
home.
wasn't enough. It wasn't
Yeah.
enough
Yeah,
sadness.
thank you for getting more sadness.
Yeah, we need another another Kleenex program. But the next day we got an email from her, and her son was in with her. Nice kid who was in the 7th or 8th grade, very shy, didn't say too much.
Trumpet player.
Yeah, yeah.
So I talked to him. I told him some things. He
Yeah,
was, he was
oh,
cool.
no.
Well, you remember what his name is?
Freddie.
Freddie. Yeah, I couldn't think of it. I told him to look up the song Freddie Freeloader, which is a jazz tune, and he was cool. And she was really nice.
They wrote an email the next day, and little Fred said it was like coming to be part of his family.
Oh,
Everybody was so nice, and that was the comment from an 8th grader just looking there. But you know, Bob, that's what we're trying to offer here.
Right.
Between Wolfie and I, Gino's in the same boat now. We got a brother Justin that's with the Vietnam Veterans Association. Jenny Babcock is with the Regional Coalition of Suicide Prevention and Awareness. She has COVID tonight, or she wouldn't be in. We have a nice group, and I read it to Wolfie, and it's probably the nicest thing anybody's ever said about us.
Yeah, and he was sitting between Gino and I, so that
Yeah.
kid could probably be a Navy SEAL or a combat Marine if he thought we were okay.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah. But
He didn't
so
stand a chance.
welcome to the show, Bob.
Thank you. Thank you.
with-
It's, I know I'm going to enjoy my hour here, and again, it's about giving back, and you guys are doing it to the community, especially the veterans community.
Well, and about 4 years ago, there was a young lady downstairs, Anna Dunbar, that was with Brett Miller and the 110 Fitness Group, and she said, "Greg, there's St. Elizabeth's Hospital has this veterans program going on for Parkinson's disease," and I said, "I really don't know anything about it. I can't imagine it would have any bearing on us or whatever." About 5 days later, my good buddy Mikey says, "Hey, Greg, I got Parkinson's disease."
Right.
Within the same 2-week period of time. And so once I looked into it, and since then, we've realized that according to VA statistics, 11% of all Parkinson sufferers are veterans. So they're looking at 110,000 members of the veteran
And
community.
there's a reason for that.
Mm-hmm.
The
Did-
burn pits,
Yeah.
what they went through.
Agent Orange.
Agent Orange, my brother doesn't have Parkinson's, had heart disease and diabetes attributed to Agent Orange from Vietnam. And
There's a whole
Yeah.
list of
You got the oil fields burning.
yep,
You got the burn
problems.
pits.
Oh yeah.
You know. And
McGinnis gave us a new one. He was the Hingham Transportation Division. The only one who's okay for that whole thing is Francine Nesson. Everybody else is a mess. We lost Peter Asa. Poor McGinnis is a mess. He said the sickest he was in the whole time is they gave him some not mustard gas, whatever that stuff was, pills. So when what the hell was that gas? Cyanide gas, whatever it was that they thought they were going to put on him. He said those pills made him
Made it
so
worse
sick.
than the.
Well, they never
Yeah,
got
they
gas.
thought it was going to be sarin attack.
Is that, yeah,
I think it was sarin.
yeah.
It comes
So
from a bean.
yeah, so he said that
Crazy.
wiped him out.
Yep.
And they got all these shots. So our shots and the pills and the things we gave the guys was worse than the combat.
Amazing.
Well, I actually have a buddy that was leading troops over in the first Gulf War.
Yeah, this
and
is
I
what it was, the
yeah,
first
and I
Gulf
remember
War.
he told me specifically. I remember he said to me,
Yeah.
"I told my guys, don't take these pills." So he either knew something or suspected something. But that story is familiar to me because you don't know. Sometimes the medicine's worse than the cure.
Yeah.
You don't know. You certainly don't know what the right answer
Well,
is.
and there was a lot of trial stuff going
Well,
on
it's
back
like
then.
now.
And Wolfie and I had a time that we were testing for Hep C.
Yeah, we pulled that off.
And the problem that well, they got it through all their problems in the military,
That was
but
the
at that
shots.
it was the shots.
They get all the same. There was like, it wasn't a needle. Yeah, everyone knows. He's
It was
new.
an ear.
All you
It was an
people
ear
know
needle gun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
everyone
one of
out there
those
knows.
two-
I don't know what I'm
Yeah,
talking about.
and you get
I
about
don't know what I'm
25
talking about.
shots at once.
They had one thing, and they just went. It wasn't a needle, but some gun or something.
Yeah.
They just went down and gave everyone the shot, and that transferred the blood and gave everybody
oh,
Hep
that's
C.
brilliant.
Yeah,
That's
Crazy.
brilliant.
That was-
whatever the first guy had, the last guy got.
There it is.
Can
Yeah.
I just tell everybody something quick? This was about McGinnis. He's a really close friend of mine. He's a mess, and he signed up for the PACT Act,
Yeah,
which is terrific.
yeah.
Except he's not so great with all that stuff. I can't help him with it. His wife is good, but not terrific with that.
Yeah.
And he has to run a little bit of a gauntlet. And he finally said, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not going to another appointment. I'm not doing it. So, of course, I called up Ponce and I said, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
We have to get advocates. If you're good enough to do that yourself, then you don't need it. That's
Sure.
our theory.
Sure.
If you have a computer and 6 kids and 4 cars and you get the newspaper and you can
Right.
do everything, you don't need all the services.
But I tell people all the time, and it's a fact, contact your member of Congress and do a congressional inquiry, and they have up to 10 days. If you go there and you sign a release form, within 10 days, they'll get an answer for where you are.
In the
depending on
process, you mean?
Yes, yep. So use your congressmen or women, whoever represents you in your district, and it's easy enough to find. There's 9 congressional districts in Massachusetts.
We
And you
have
go online.
Congressman Lynch.
Yeah, so we have Danny.
Yeah.
Danny Lynch is just working on veterans, but
But you want
know-
somebody, you want to go to your own congressional district. So down here is a split between
Keating.
yeah,
and
Keating's-
Lynch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're in
yeah.
Keating's district, you want to go to
Yeah,
Bill's
I think
office.
That's
Yeah.
Plymouth, where I live. I think it's Keating.
Well, he's got an office down in Plymouth, but he's really down. Keating's really down the Cape.
He's got the Cape and Islands.
Yeah,
But he's got the whole thing down. He's got New Bedford, if I'm correct, too.
I believe so. Yeah,
Maybe even Fall River.
Yeah.
that might
Yeah.
be Lynch, but it doesn't matter. So,
Yeah.
so yes, if you're uncomfortable, you're. I said, "Are you in it?" He says, "I'm in. I'm good. I'm fine. I just can't go to another appointment." They sent him to Brockton. They're not there. They sent him to a doctor. The doctor's not there, and the guys can't keep doing all that driving to the. So. Contact your veteran service officer or call Greg and I, and we're going to get you some advocates. So Ponce is working on advocates, and
yeah. We gotta
someone just has
simplify.
to walk. You need to be walking. It's like us. Greg and I can't do it. No, I'll do it for you. Greg and I can't do it either. So
No.
we're going to get some nice people who are comfortable with the stupid forms and going to the damn doctor's thing to walk each person through. So don't bail out of the deal.
Even some of the state offices are helpful. Some of the state senate offices, as well as state reps, even though it's not their jurisdiction, they are helpful. They have advocates.
And I think that one of our friends, Gail Clark, she's going to be on the show in a couple of weeks, Wolfie. So we can really
Yeah.
beat her up a little bit.
Yeah.
She's the director of geriatric services
Yeah.
at the Brockton VA Hospital.
Okay.
So she's a great one for helping to
She
train.
can answer things.
Yeah,
Yep.
and helping to train on how to use some of the
And direct people, too, yep.
there was all the telehealth
Yep.
stuff. Well, first, they didn't have tablets.
Right,
Then they didn't know how to use them.
right.
So that's what she was involved in, that type of a solution. So
And she understands how ridiculous us old guys are. So she was on the show, and the telehealth is really
Yep.
magnificent. And the crew that was very uncomfortable doing it, they had kids train them. It was wonderful. And I said, Gail, you missed the singly most important thing. I said, none of us can remember our password. She said, the hell with HIPAA, I have everyone's passwords.
That's funny.
Hey,
says-
with that, lad, why don't we take our first break? We'll be back after these messages with our good friend Bob Losey, who's in to talk about his veterans activities and his great golf tournament that we hope that we can help him with tonight. So take it away, lad. We'll be back after these messages. Well, welcome back, everybody. Greg Brasso, your host of Veterans Voice Radio, here tonight with Bob Losey is our guest coming in tonight. We're down a couple of our co-hosts. Our dear Jenny Babcock is down with COVID right now, so she's
Listening, though.
Well, I'm sure she is, and taking copious notes.
She's
and,
taking notes. I'll be getting criticizing texts. Either Nancy Ross criticizes me, rightfully so.
Yeah, we
Keep us on our A game.
we get people watching out for us or whatever. But we've had some great success over the years building this network. But Bob, you've been at work for the last several years helping out to raise a whole bunch of funds for some deserving vets. How are you doing that, Bob? And what are you doing?
So we run a golf tournament every year at George Wright Golf Course in Hyde Park. Pretty convenient for me. It's like a mile and a half from my house.
Beautiful.
And,
Donald Ross design.
Donald Ross design. And
Oh, it's a gem of a golf
it's
course.
rated one of the top municipal courses in the country.
Sure is.
Scott Allen is the pro, and Scott does an amazing job, and Joe and Billy and the rest of the crew up at George Wright, my hat's off to them, and people from all over the country come to Hyde Park to play that course.
Years we played it. My cousin was a member there back in the early '90s, when it was very much a municipal course.
Yes.
It was burnt out. It was, there wasn't a lot of money. Not a lot of
Right.
investing went into it, and
Mayor Menino brought it back. Mayor Menino was a golf enthusiast. I can't even say it.
enthusiast.
Thank you. He played a lot of golf when he wasn't the mayor, of course.
Yeah.
On his off days, but brought the course back, and it's in fantastic shape. And yes, we've been doing our golf tournament. It's 23 years, so this June will be our 24th year. When we started it, our goal was $100,000, and if we haven't topped $800,000, we're right at the cusp
Wow.
of raising
Wow.
$800,000 for the tournament, and 100% of the proceeds go to the Homeless Center for Veterans on Court Street in Boston. And if you know anything about that,
Tell
the center-
us a little bit about it, Bob.
So the center brings veterans together. There's housing there, so you can live there. You got to pay a certain amount depending on your earnings. But Andy McCauley is the Commander Andy
yeah.
McCauley.
Yes. Oh.
Yeah, he's a friend of the show.
Yeah. He's been on. We're talking about his aircraft.
Andy is does
Captain.
an amazing job.
Yeah.
And he's been running it now for at least 5 or 6 years, if my memory serves me right. Maybe even longer.
Maybe even a little bit more.
Yeah, and he does an incredible job, and they're building more rooms
Are
for
they?
our veterans.
Are they?
They
How
are.
are they doing that?
So they took out the third floor, and I don't know what was up there, but they did individual bedrooms. And what they're trying to do is many individuals bedrooms as possible. You're living there as your residence. You want your privacy as much
Sure.
as possible.
Sure.
I mean, there were still some barracks.
Yeah.
With X amount of beds in one
Yeah.
big room, but the bedrooms are becoming more and more prevalent, and it works out quite well, and they're beautiful too.
They've spent a tremendous amount of money invested over the last several years there, haven't they?
They have, and they're just not funded as much as they should be. So these fundraisers that people run for them are quite helpful. And
Sure.
actually, we are the longest serving charitable arm for this institution. We've been going, like I said, 24 years. And
Wow. Wow.
I don't think anyone's close to us, and we're going to continue to do it. My goal now is $1 million.
Nice. Very nice.
And we're going to hit it, and It's
in
funny.
just a few more years.
Yeah, it's funny. Most golf tournaments, after 10 years, they lose their life, and people don't attend, and they find other things to do. And this one is getting more and more popular, which is kind of funny.
Why do you what do you devote that? Or what do you why?
Veterans. I think people are finally getting it. I shouldn't say finally getting it. Most people have known all along, rather, that we need to support our veterans.
Yep.
And Wolfie, you said it best. You can misspeak or speak in terms that other people don't because of our
them.
veterans.
Yeah.
They gave us that right, and some of us abuse it. But the bottom line on it is, it's because our veterans why we're free today.
No question. No question.
We don't do enough for them, as far as I'm
Can I
concerned.
tell you something really good, how important? It sounds like, he has a little golf tournament, he gives a little bit of money to somebody. The fire in Southie, where did they go? Yesterday. The day before, I'm supervisor Red Cross disaster team. So they said one person's displaced in Southie. It's kind of a nice day. I said, well, let me make a few. The mayor's office called them, not the fire department. And I said, put the guy inside the building, and I'll get someone for him. They said, I think he's a veteran. I said, I'll be there in 10 minutes.
Yep.
If he's not inside the building in the clubhouse, we're going to have a real problem.
Yeah.
I said, he better be sitting in one of those soft chairs with his
There you
feet
go.
up when I show up.
And getting back to the...
But listen, this is
Yeah.
how important what you're saying, that this isn't a joke.
No.
I try and tell a little humor. It's sad stuff. So he says to me, I have no place to go. National Guard. So I said, can I hook up National Guard? They don't take such good care of the National Guard. Old timer. He's been for a
Right.
long time. So because of the stand down, we were just talking about the Hep C,
Yeah.
and Macaulay has friends in Hull. I have that phone number on a sheet of paper.
Wonderful.
So I said to the guy, how would you like to have a place to stay tonight in downtown Boston?
Yeah.
Call that number right up.
Yep. They took care of him.
So that's how important that is. That guy is in the street, no family, no hope, no nothing, just sitting there
amazing.
dejected. And I said, that's it. We put that phone
And-
number.
and
So
that's
that's how
why-
important a stupid golf game is.
Yeah, and it's so important. Well, you couldn't have said that any better. It's so important that we have the resources to help people out like that. And again, my heart breaks for. Not,
sad.
I see anyone that's homeless, my heart breaks for them.
Sad.
And then when you see a veteran that's homeless, I mean, it's like a double break for me. And I was not in the service. My oldest brother was. My second oldest brother was. And I'm the one that graduated from college. I was the first out of 7 to graduate from college. And I always regret it that I didn't go in because I think it would have added to my. It would have helped me to grow quicker.
Would have helped me tremendously,
Yeah.
and Gino and
Yeah.
I
I think
talk
men have
about
the-
it all the time.
Yeah, see every day.
Yeah.
I had that Peter Pan syndrome. I hate to say it. And I finally realized that.
When did you get out of high school? What year did you get out of high school?
74.
Okay. Oh, so the Vietnam War, the
was-
draft was gone.
Still get drafted, but I was like number 255.
Oh, great.
I was a
Yeah.
high number.
Yeah.
And still had a register, but they weren't taking anybody. I
Okay.
think they stopped it in 73, maybe. End of
Maybe
70
sometime around
I
there.
think the
Yeah.
end of 73. So
Yeah.
I wasn't going to be drafted. Both brothers were drafted, but enlisted in the Navy. So my two brothers are in the Navy, and I just think it would have been a good fit for me.
Yeah.
But it wasn't to be. And you asked me why we started doing something for the veterans. A dear friend of yours and mine was the director of the center, the shelter at that time. Now it's called the Center
Yeah.
of Homeless Veterans. Tom Lyons. I got to know Tom. I knew his brother Paul. I got to know Tom, and I sitting around with him one afternoon. And I said, I want to do something. So I started a golf tournament. And like
Tom
I s-
Lyons is a Southie kid.
He is.
Graduated in, I think, it's 68 or 69, if I'm
Yep.
not
So
mistaken.
Boston High, if I'm correct as well.
Yep. Went down and signed up with 12 of his classmates.
Yep.
Him and 8 others of his classmates came back. 4 didn't, and he's devoted the rest of his life now to be part of Never Forget. And
Matter
he-
of fact, he helped build the first Vietnam Veteran Memorial in South Boston on M Street. He also started a Marine Corps luncheon I'm going to get my ass kicked if I get this wrong. I think it's November 10th. It is. The Marine
It is.
Corps
It's
birthday
my
is
dad's
November.
birthday.
All right, November
I
10th.
remember.
Sorry, guys. You should know that. I actually wear.
in Weymouth, Mulvey, he'll call me.
I wear today. I got my son's Marine Corps dog tags on, which I've never taken off since he came
Excellent.
back from Afghanistan. But Tommy does a Marine Corps luncheon every November 10th. And he'll tell you it started out with 26 people, and there's probably 300 people that say they were part of that 26.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Today, there's over 2,000 that attend that luncheon.
2,000.
2,000 attended. And he
Is
has...
that the one at Florian Hall?
It's much
Much
blown
bigger
out.
than
wouldn't
Florian
fit there,
Hall.
yeah.
I want to say it's the convention center now. I mean, it blew out of every place he had it.
Yeah, wow, wow. Good.
and-
So typical of something Tommy would do.
Yeah, he's gotten some national awards for veterans for supporting veterans.
Sure.
Matter of fact, I think it's 3 times. The Medal of Honor Winter Society convention was held in Boston.
Sure was.
And it's
Yeah.
because of Tommy.
Yeah.
I sat on the board the first time when it came in. It was like one of the greatest honors of my life because I get to meet. Growing up, I grew up in the '60s and '70s, and my heroes were Carl Yastrzemski and Harmon Killebrew and Tony Oliva, baseball players. They weren't heroes; they were athletes.
Yeah.
When I got to meet Medal of Honor winner Norris, for example, and I think I got his name right. He got 2 medal. He was involved in 2 Medal of Honor ceremonies. He got
Kids
one.
like Tom Hudner.
Yeah, Tom Hudner.
That had a destroyer or a cruiser named after
Yes.
him, deservedly so.
But Norris got one, and then he got involved in one. He got shot through the left eye when he went back, and his comrade swam 2 miles downriver, bringing him back, and he got the Medal of Honor. So he was involved in 2. But one of my favorite ones was this medal, the Medal of Honor winner that was a medic. A hand grenade was thrown at his battalion. He dove on top of it. And he said, I can remember him saying, he goes, "Oh shit, I got to get rid of this." Takes it and throws it and went off. He got the Medal of Honor for diving on top of the hand
Wow,
grenade.
wow,
But see,
wow.
these guys are the real heroes.
Yeah,
It's not
no
baseball
question.
players
course.
or movie stars. They're not heroes.
You
They're
know,
entertainers.
And Bob, not only are the combat, members heroes, those that didn't serve in combat, but they still served.
Rosie Rivet.
You
the
know,
women in World War II.
They signed their
that
name
left their
down.
houses. Yep.
The training that they go through
Yep.
is as dangerous as
Sure it is.
is anything that anybody would ever go through.
Yep.
Lucky to survive it, and
Can I tell you there's somebody else who's pretty heroic too, and that's a mom who's raising 3 kids by herself, hoping that her husband doesn't get shot today, and he's away at war.
yeah.
Yep.
Heroes come in a lot of flavors, but
Yeah.
I agree with what you said. Most of the flavors they come in don't involve uniforms that are costumes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
If you talk baseball, rock star, movie star, they're not heroes.
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift.
That's different.
Yeah,
though.
Wait a minute
Yeah.
now. I love Taylor.
Oh,
I'm going to
okay.
tell you why I love her.
I don't
I'm gonna
even
tell
know
you
who it
why.
is.
Uh-oh.
She does so much charitable work that goes unrecognized.
Yeah, she does.
Because she wants it that way. So she's one of these people that when I hear people criticizing her, I go, "You don't know the story." She does so much, and she's one of these people. And this is a true story. So she raised millions of dollars her last tour.
Oh, yeah.
The truck drivers that drove her around,
Yeah.
she wrote them checks for $100,000.
Every one of
each.
them. Yep.
Every one of them.
And different crew members for different amounts too. Lots of money,
$50,000.
50,000,
Yes.
20,000.
Nobody does
Because she
that.
did well and she made a lot of money. She said bonuses for everybody.
Yeah.
No, nobody does do that.
People don't know
I
that.
wouldn't know one of her songs if I heard it, but, I sure do appreciate that.
We'll be doing that tomorrow. But tonight we got to take this break because we have some sponsors that have a message that they want to get out. So, Larry, take it away, kid, and we'll be back after these messages for the second half of tonight's show. Take it away, Larry. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. We're getting into a discussion about who married who, when, where. But Wolfie is talking about his rowing ex.
Not just rowing, the regatta,
Yeah,
The head of the
which is the largest in the world.
Yeah.
yeah, but we go through this like every week.
I think it's
But
amazing.
Yeah,
my kids are gonna be rowing real hard that Sunday afternoon.
Somehow, yeah, because as he's getting a little bit on the other side of the
It's amazing.
of the hill, his kids are taking over a little bit. But
The Veteran Voice Connection rules again. Right next to the Elliott Street Bridge, next to the Cambridge Boathouse, was the most exclusive place. You can't get in, you can't get near it, is an American Legion post.
no,
Yes, there is. The
Is-
Marsh Post.
Marsh.
Yeah.
So
My uncle was a
144.
member for 60 years.
I said, Charlie,
60-cent Schlitz.
American Legion guy, hell, I need a place to park. He goes, how many spots you need?
yeah,
Yep.
oh, perfect.
Done.
Isn't that wonderful?
I'll give
Perfect.
you a funny story with that. So, I worked in Washington D.C. for 14 years, and the American Legion headquarters were on L Street, I believe, KRL. And I'm walking by it one day, and I said, I'm going to go in there, and I knock on the door, and the security guy comes down, and I tell him what I was looking for. So someone came down from the American Legion, and I said, do you have any special pins? And he's looking at me like I got three heads. I go, my uncle has been a member of your organization. So at the time, it was, I can tell you what it was, 74 years.
Wow.
The guy looks at me and goes, what? I said, yeah,
Yeah.
he went in World War II at the age of 16. He's now 93.
Wow.
So I think I got my math right, right? 74,
Can't tell with Greg and I,
90.
maybe Gino.
74 years. And the guy looked at me like I had three heads. I go, look it up.
Yeah.
And he did. And he came down with a handful of pins that I gave to my
Oh.
uncle, which he
Wow,
loved.
wow.
How
But yeah, he
cool.
went in. He went in World War II after getting rejected from the Marines, the Army, the Navy, the Marines, the Army, the Navy, the Marine, the Army, the Navy. You know why he got rejected? He was 98 pounds, soaking wet. So he
jeez.
couldn't make the weight. So his last time,
Literally.
that they had chains on their wallets. So he put all the guys' wallets over his neck.
Oh,
And they
that
got
was
weighed. He just made it by like a pound.
That's great.
he got
Oh,
in.
my God.
Boy.
That crew's so good. My
So he was
Susan,
a sophomore in high school when he got in.
sophomore in high school.
High school. He came back and graduated, 4 years later.
Boy, that's a brave guy. My Susan just texted, and she rode in the big boats and stuff. She was a big deal. And she just texted and said, the Wolfman is not over the hill.
No, he's over the
It's
waves.
over the waterfall.
He's over the wave.
But you were just talking about your heroes. I didn't have the, I watched all the sports and all. We were hockey.
Right.
My heroes growing up were Cardinal Cushing,
Yep.
because I had a handicapped brother, Rick. You know Rick.
Yeah.
And he and Rose Kennedy were the only people
Rose
who
Kennedy
were
was
fighting
another
for the handicapped kids.
Yep.
In those days, it was called retarded.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Now it's called inclusion.
yeah, and
Cardinal Cushing
John
Center?
Michael Cooley. Yes,
Yep.
John Michael Curley. Those were my heroes. as
James
kids
Michael
James
Curley?
Michael. James
Yes,
Michael.
Curley.
What did I say, John?
Yeah.
James Michael. Those were my heroes growing up.
Funny.
Isn't that crazy?
The most unbelievable
They did more for everybody.
afternoon I ever had on a soccer field came last year when I showed up the wrong day for a game in East Bridgewater. And sun was out, and there's a bunch of kids playing, and so I'm hanging around the field not knowing what I'm going to do. And one of the organizers came up and said, "Boy, are you an official? We'd love to have you officiate our game." I said, "Yeah, sure, I'd be happy to." Well, it was, I didn't know it, but it was an inclusion game. And it was East Bridgewater against Carver. And the two instances that are just with me like ever is the blind girl that had a guide, human,
Yep.
holding her by the arm. And every once in a while, the seeing eye human would step on the ball, and she'd put the blind girl's foot at the ball, and she'd kick it. And it would go sideways, upside down, and she'd laugh.
Everybody cheers.
Oh,
Yeah.
God Almighty!
Yep.
But the other instance was a girl that was maybe junior high school, sophomore, junior, senior, had cerebral palsy so bad that she had to have two humans carrying her and walking her out in the field. And once again, they'd put her foot on the ball.
Right.
Oh, but to see the joy in her face,
That's what it's all about.
And the high school kids, I really have to give them a lot of credit. The athletes now are helping the kids to Canton. I did a basketball game in Hingham, was the same thing with the Hingham basketball players. I think there were 3 basketball players and 2 kids that had some challenges. And everything was around the kids with challenges.
In our era, you're a little bit older than I am, I think. How old are you now?
73.
Yep, just a tad older than I am. We never saw that. Those kids were not allowed to play.
No,
Yeah, they were locked away.
no,
They were absolutely locked away.
Just incredible.
yeah.
My mom and dad, who love what you're doing, my brother's, not one of those quiet ones. He makes me look like, geez, he's a wild man. He's still going pretty strong at 75. And that was the first couple about town, my mom and dad, who decided not only were they not going to lock him away. This is important because we're fighting the
Right,
same
yeah,
fights
oh, yeah.
with the veterans now.
Yep.
It's the exact same thing.
Yep.
So they took him in public everywhere. And he's a handful. He'd walk right up and take a cookie right out of your hand
Yep.
if you were eating it,
Oh, I
and
do that.
and my
Yeah, me
there's no
too.
di- we're all the same. And so my parents had to make our whole lives 100% equal because he couldn't fight for the last cookie or fight
Right.
for anything, and you couldn't say, well, it's okay not to have him here. You can have him here. So we grew up with this pure
bless them.
equality. Bless them. They're the ones that changed it,
Yeah.
and because that he was out in public, the first legislation, I'll make the story short, the first legislation that came up for handicapped kids, late 50s, early 60s, I'm sitting next to Dad, a state rep calls up and says to him, I'm up here at the State House with legislation for those kids that are off a little bit. Do I see your brother's name, Ricky's name on there? Dad says, yeah, it's Ricky's name. He said, what is it? Dad didn't technically know. And my dad
Right.
says to him, he says, my dad turns to him and says, Normie, just pass the freaking thing.
Right.
And I heard with my own ears, okay, Chet.
Yep.
That's because he was out in public. So can you imagine something passing like that now?
Oh.
Just pass the freaking thing, okay,
No.
Chet.
Yeah.
Not going to happen
But
today.
that's what you need. You need something
Yeah.
just past the goddamn.
You know, and not for nothing, but on the news right now is a town that is having some financial questions dating back already 4 or 5 or 6 months. They're just getting around to naming a committee to look into who they're going to hire to do the investigation. By the time it's going to be done, it's going to be yesterday.
Yeah, it's insanity.
And
Well-
and who it's unbelievable, Wolfie. That would never happen anymore. We've got no
couldn't
speaker.
happen.
We've got no speaker of the house right now.
Right. Right.
No one's going to say, you know what,
I-
all these poor kids need a shake, just pass it.
Yep.
Where did you hear anyone say that? But what you're doing now, you're helping to fund that, you're helping to push it, you're helping to keep it alive. That's what our job is.
Yeah, but they threw out Kevin McCarthy, who I'm not a fan of, and we're not big political junkies by any stretch. But he reached across the aisle, and they fired him.
Well, I will disagree with you on that.
All right, let's not get into that.
We're not going to get into politics. but-
Instead, let's say, do you know what the definition of a committee is? It's a group of individuals who individually can't get anything done, but collectively can decide that nothing can be done.
Stop everything.
and that happens today.
How we got
Well,
You're getting back, though, just to get back to the golf tournament a little bit.
Oh yeah,
So
no,
we
I think we've gotten away from it.
We have it every June, and I don't have the date yet. It's usually the third Friday in June. I do not need golfers. Thank you if you're thinking of it. I need sponsors.
And what type of sponsors, Bob?
Whole sponsors. You can sponsor. I have some groups in. Since I'm union associated, we have a lot of great unions that will pick up an extra foursome, and I'll give it to veterans groups, DAV groups.
Great.
I invite every year. I invite a group from the home base. Unfortunately, the last couple of years they haven't been able to make it. But DAVs, any veteran groups that want to play, I have a free foursome for them. And that's because of the generosity of the laborers union,
Nice.
the electricians union, the IBW, the plumbers, the pipe fitters, the
One,
steam fitters.
and they're all giving back.
They're all giving back. The teams, every union you can think of participates in this tournament.
Great.
And I always, as a former union president,
Wow.
we're our worst enemy because we don't publicize some of the community things that we do. And this is a fine example of it. Most of the money that I raise comes from labor groups or union members that play in the tournament.
Well, and this show is started, Bob, because there's not enough airtime given to good stories.
Yep.
Yeah, and everybody wants to know about the bombing here and the mass shooting and the whatever. But how about the PACT Act?
Right.
How about saving people's? How about free hearing aids?
Right.
Free glasses? Free prescriptions?
Instead of a 1% tax break for the wealthy. I mean, it's insane. I told you I did that for a living, so we're not going to talk politics, but it's insanity. You sit there sometimes and you just shake your head.
How can they get a hold of you to sponsor? What number should they call and everything?
They can call the Homeless Shelter for Veterans in Boston on Court Street. And I can actually look up the phone number. It's
I think I'm going to have Andy McCauley's phone number.
yeah,
I
don't
think
want
I
to
have
give him
Andy's.
that
I'm
one.
not giving Andy's out.
I can
Well,
give him-
we need to take a break. Larry, why don't we take our last break here? We'll look up the phone number for the New England Center for
Veterans.
New England Center for Veterans. Is
They
that
don't
what
call it
the?
homeless
Yep.
anymore.
No, oh no.
No.
No, okay. New England Center for Veterans. Okay. And we'll be back after these messages, and we'll share that phone number with you. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Here we are in the fourth quarter of tonight's show. But I want to mention to all our listeners that through the mastery of technology, not only do we offer our show here live on WATD and WMEX. We're here live as you're listening tonight. But the Reach Across America rebroadcast this show every Wednesday evening at 10 o'clock and Sunday morning at 6 a.m. So for your early morning risers and that want to catch last week's show, we replay the show as well as the Marshfield Broadcasting Cable Company televises our show for us. So we have some exposure now, folks, and so if you miss us here, you can grab us there, or you can always go to our website, veteransvoicenetwork.org, and by 3 days after the show, the replay will be online, so you can go back and listen to that. So that's one thing that we never do, Wolfie. We don't broadcast enough.
No, we don't pitch our own. And talking about pitching our own stuff, we just got to give the phone number for Bobby's event. This is the Mail Handlers Union that put this out. It's the New England Vet Centers. That's who we just saved a vet from sleeping in the street last night. And they really do so many different things: the mental health part, the physical health, the
Dental
short
work,
term,
the
the long
vision,
term.
and they find jobs for them, and they house them. And Wolfie, they do so much. And you're going to give them the phone number.
Yeah.
Before you do that, though, forget my golf tournament in June. You can feed a veteran, too. You can make a donation that you could buy lunch for a veteran, for all the veterans, or you could buy a breakfast. If you're a business out there listening to this show, reach out to the homeless shelter, to the Center for Veterans, rather, and donate.
Especially if you're looking for a legitimate cause to donate to.
Yep.
There's not much more legitimate cause, is there, Bob,
No.
than
Nope.
the potential of what
you
used to be homeless veterans?
Right. You can tour the place, too, which is just amazing. And give you a little history on the center. Joe Moakley, Congressman Moakley, who passed away back in 2001, if I'm correct, that was a GAO building at the time, and they got it for the center. So the veterans have been in this since either 2000 or 2001 straight through, and it's because of the work and the influence of the former congressman who has passed on, Joseph Moakley from Boston. So, Wolfie, with that,
Yeah, so to help make a donation one way or the other, I'm sure it's on a website too, which Greg and I are not smart enough to get that for you. So get your number 2 pencils, turn the envelope over on the back.
Use the side without the eraser.
Yes, and that's for my friends.
as
That's
we
you,
need to-
McGinnis and
we need to
Richmond,
remind
and Erwin.
Wolfie.
All right, nothing personal. We're here for you. It's 617-371-1700, which for you, Richmond, is 1700.
Yeah.
All right, it's not the time. It's not 5 o'clock. It's a phone number. So to do that, to get in the golf tournament, to get involved with it, and I'm sure it's New England Vet Center website, which will make more sense. It's really an amazing thing that really works. It's one of the few things that's actually working. It's been there a long time.
And that number again is?
617-371-1700.
And again, give what you can give.
It was great. It was last year. I want to thank you, Bob, for letting me join you. Boy, the camaraderie that everybody showed there, that it was so obvious that they were all on the same page, that they were happy to be there. I mean, smiles were galore in the
We have
meeting.
people that keep coming back. We have one guy that's played all 23 tournaments.
Why would you not?
And I won't let him quit because he's the only one left that's made all. I mean, I've made them all. I don't play in it because I'm too unorganized to play and run it.
Yeah.
I love playing golf. Don't get me wrong. I'm just too unorganized to run it and play at the same time. Because
And do the
Kind of like
18th
directing
hole.
your own movie.
I'm telling you, I'd lose my mind trying to
Sure.
do it. But it's just it's a fantastic event. My wife Karen is amazing. She's the one that keeps she keeps it organized. Because I tend to I'm the blonde of the
Wolfie has
of
a
the
sister,
wedding.
Kim.
Yeah.
And that's what Kim does.
Yep.
Wolfie shoots his mouth while Kim's doing
Right.
all the work and
Yep, that
telling
sounds
everybody what to do.
Sounds
and
like Karen.
and
Same
now
idea.
we've had 33 or 34 food drive-throughs that we have 20 or 30 volunteers show up, and they all look to Kim for, oh, and what do I do? What do you need me
Right.
for? What do you need? And
We did 33 here. We were just driving through Braintree, and my Susan says, "Didn't we just have a food drive up here by the police station?" So we probably did 50 altogether. We did
Yeah.
33 out of here.
we did Quincy.
Yeah, Braintree. that
Quincy
was
a little
Braintree.
bit,
We did
and
all
and
of
and
East
before we
Bridgewater.
run out of time, Wolfie and I want to make a plea to all of you folks out there, whether you can give $1, $5, or $10. If you could drop off a food card, what do you call
Gift
those?
card.
Gift card.
Yep.
Here at the at the station, you can leave it off at the desk downstairs. Wolfie and I will take that and turn it into as much food as we can.
We're having trouble getting food. That's what this is
That's the
about.
problem, folks.
And then the food drive is in 2 weeks, and then Thanksgiving's a week or two after that. So we're really hustling to get food. And WMEX, WATD has been wonderful. Greg just talked to a person who was going to give us some dough. And
Yep.
We have truckloads of sodas coming in, and they are stepping up. We just got great big wheels of cheese from one of the guys. But we give away so much food.
How
that-
about 100 squashes? How about
Absolutely.
100 butternut squash so everybody
Yeah.
has a butternut squash for their Thanksgiving table? How about turkey stuffing? How about cranberry sauce?
Potatoes and onions.
I mean, all of that stuff. We definitely want the next event is going to be November 9th. So that the week of November 9th is when you'd want to get in touch with Wolfie or myself. We'll come and pick up the food. No, if it's something that needs to be frozen, we have a freezer. We'll take it, organize it, and hopefully we can offer a happy Thanksgiving and a full stomach to a bunch of people that we
Deserve
take
it.
care of. That it's
And
certainly
this
deserve
this
it.
is for the commercial too. It's not, one can is nice, but we do 800 meals on Thanksgiving. We do 6,000 pounds in an hour and 45 minutes out of the radio station.
It's amazing.
So we really need the commercial situation. If it's scratch the can, or it's not a great seller, or you have too much of it, we can get that on a weekly or a monthly basis. We really need to be at that level.
Any farmers out there, if you got some extra produce, come call me and Wolfie. I'm at 781-985-1551. I'll be there with my pickup truck. We'll fill up the back with rutabagas. It doesn't matter what you have if they can provide a healthy meal for some folks that really deserve it. But Bob, I want to thank.
Before I go,
Yeah.
besides my wife and I, Kathy Caulfield from the Male Handlers Union has been involved in the tournament all 24 years as well. she's the one that's organized. My wife and her are the two people that organized, and I just go to the mic and yell things out.
Very nice. That's nice.
Again, thank you for having us on. And again, if you're not going to give to the veterans groups or the food bank, give to something. Give back. We're all